You're watching Capital Connection from the Illinois State Capitol.
We're not going away!
An adamant crowd of Illinois gun owners marched down Capitol Avenue to surround the State House front steps and protest any new gun regulations.
The message has to be, we will not comply. We will not comply with a God-given right that you're trying to take away. We will not do it.
Republican lawmakers rallied the crowd of gun owners, encouraging a movement to divide the state in two.
How many of you think it'd be a great idea to separate from Chicago?
Illinois is under attack. The Chicago socialists continue to work out of the playbook from Alinsky and all the other evil dictators that the first thing they've tried to do is seize your guns.
Some signs referenced a civil war. One reading, "I'm willing to die to protect gun rights."
I think most of the patriots here would. It's the most important amendment that we have. It keeps everything else in line. So if we don't have that, we don't really have anything else.
With gun rights as the backdrop, Republican lawmakers hit a chorus of other conservative themes, protesting abortion, higher taxes, and touting their religious faith.
God gave us the right. God gave us the right.
And inflaming a regional divide between downstate and Chicago.
Chicago's not only the problem, our legislature is out of control. Corruption runs rampant, one bad policy after another, leading to one bad financial decision after another. The entire state of Illinois is not being represented equally. In closing, let's build a wall around Cook County and get Chicago to pay for it. Let's make Illinois great again. Hashtag fight for 51. God bless Illinois and God bless you. Thank you.
Joining us now are two House Republicans, Chris Miller from Oakland and Brad Halbrook from Shelbyville. Both of you were at this rally, the Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day rally on Wednesday. Do you have a name yet for this movement? Is it the State House separatists, the political Puritans? What is this? What should we call the group that wants to secede or rebel, reject Chicago?
Well, that's a good question. There's actually lots of groups that are popping up. There's a group called New Illinois or New Illinois State. There's Downstate Illinois Secession. There's lots of groups out there.
This is pretty divisive language. You stood in front of a statue of a person who said a house divided against itself shall not stand. And I believe President Lincoln was quoting scripture when he said that. What's the case for doing this? And isn't this rather divisive language?
Well, it may be. The case for it is the continued onslaught of attacks on our traditional family values, the right to protect ourselves, the right, the way we want to educate our kids, the ability to mine coal and draw oil out of the ground, things that we think are very important, are constantly under attack.
Okay. And how does Chicago's presence in the state impede your ability to engage those members on the merits and win arguments and have debate?
Well, there's just a large majority of the legislators come from the northeast corner of the state, and they have a different viewpoint about those things than we do. So when they're in the majority, it's very difficult to have a meaningful discussion and debate about the issues that we think are really important to us.
And Representative Miller, this is your first term in Springfield. I know during orientation, they tell members, play nice, build relationships because you're here to negotiate, and that one day your vote might matter, the next day you may lose a fight, but you stick around in Springfield as a legislator to make those deals. Isn't this call, some of the language you use there describing Chicago, I mean, how are you going to negotiate with those people?
Well, I think that's one of the problems is there's no negotiation. I know that from November to January, we heard every article I read in the paper was about how we're going to be bipartisan and work across the aisle, and everything's going to be great. And I sincerely believe that, and we tried to do that, but I know that one of the first things that happens in the House of Representatives is that you adopt the House rules. And I know that one of the things that we asked for during that negotiation is if we could have 24 hours to look at a bill before we voted on it. And when the Democrats said collectively, no, you can't have 24 hours to look at a bill, negotiate a bill, think it through, and make an informed decision, when they said we aren't going to do that, then I thought, well, I guess there goes bipartisanship.
Pardon the cynical question here, but are you for real? If there was a vote in the House, would you really vote in favor of kicking Chicago out of Illinois?
Yeah, I guess probably what we want to do is not necessarily kick Chicago out of Illinois, but we want to separate from Illinois. And I would be...
This isn't just a rallying cry to whip up frenzy and get people to the polls. You mean this. This is, I just ask because
It's becoming serious business. I did not really know how much was out there, but there's a lot of desire to do something different. And so the movement grows every day. Where it's going to go, I don't really know, but there is, I mean, this is
Aren't you the leader of it?
Well, I'm not necessarily the leader. I'm the sponsor of HR 101 that kind of is the document, I guess, that these groups are kind of rallying around, but there's groups popping up all over with different ways to do things. So it's interesting how this thing has got all different kinds of people engaged at all different levels about it.
So fiscal conservatives, both of you, what do you do when you kick out the biggest moneymaker in the state? When you tell, you know, to use a basketball analogy, you tell Michael Jordan to get off the Bulls, all of a sudden you've lost your biggest scorer. Chicago contributes more to the state coffers than downstate, than central Illinois. We know this, as reported in the Southern Illinois newspaper, that Southern Illinois, for every dollar it sends to Springfield, gets $2.81 back. Central Illinois gets $1.87 back for every dollar it sends. Cook County only gets 90 cents back on the dollar. They're contributing more to the state. So theoretically or mathematically, you're punching a massive hole in the state budget, in New Illinois' state budget on day one.
Right, well, it's an interesting discussion. And, you know, if you separate Cook County out, 5.3 million people, the rest of the state, 7.6 million, still the 101 counties would still have an economic impact larger than a lot of the other states in the union. So they could get this done. The discussion about $2 or $3 more coming into a county than it's going out, I think you have to look at who really benefits from that. You take Champaign County, Coles County, some of the other counties that have large state institutions in them, you would have to say that not all of the students at an EIU are residents of Coles County. So there's state money flowing into Coles County to reduce the cost of educating someone from DuPage County or from Cook County. And so really the benefit is going to DuPage County, where those people truly live.
Another question here, by saying we want the divorce, we want Chicago out, aren't you walking away from the table and giving up on the sort of enlightenment principle of the democratic process where you engage with members across the aisle? Aren't you just basically throwing that away?
I don't think so, and I think that's the issue. I think that may have already been thrown out because the U.S. Constitution guarantees us a Republican form of government, and that's not happening, and that's why...
By population, it is. There's just more people that live there than live here.
Right. Yeah, but the issue is it's not happening.
So is there no hope?
I think there's hope.
To win minds over in debate,
Yeah.
to... I mean, also part of this is about the elections, right? I mean, the people elected, what about Democrats that live in your district? What representation do they have?
Yeah, well, I think they are in favor of our Democrats are really conservative in central Illinois. And so they like the idea. They don't like, because they are pro-life, they are Second Amendment Democrats, they don't like the restrictive gun legislation, they don't like the attack on the unborn and all these other issues. So they're with us on this issue.
Okay, I guess we'll wait and see what happens. There is a bill in the Senate right now that would, in its own language, ban assault weapons. I know some of the members at the rally Wednesday took umbrage with this use of the term assault weapon. There's another series of bills that the 6 Catholic bishops were protesting at the State House on Thursday this week that deal with abortion. And so these seem like some of the things that were common themes in your rally there. So what is the message on those issues for the Republican Party? I imagine it was made pretty clear at that rally there, but for our audience here today, what effect can you have on those votes in the House?
Yeah, I think just trying to rally our citizens to engage. We've seen a tremendous amount of citizen engagement already this spring. Citizens are becoming more and more aware of how to go to the ILGA website, how to file witness slips. I think we've seen engagement at a higher level than ever before via social media or whatever, and so I think that helps them to get engaged and to influence legislators all across the state of Illinois.
All right, and what are the chances that Chicago ever becomes a 51st state? Or the other way around, downstate. I don't know which one becomes the 51st. I don't know, but give us the chances that this ever becomes reality.
Yeah, I don't know what those chances are, but we need to have a discussion about how we move forward and how we govern ourselves, how we manage ourselves financially, and those things need to be a part of this discussion. I think this discussion about 51st State is driving that at a greater level than we ever anticipated.
All right, Representatives Halbrook and Miller from Central Illinois, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We're back in a moment.